Ah. Muli po ang aking pagpapaalala sa lahat ng pagpapanatili ng kaayusan at paggalang sa proseso na ating kapulungan sa pagpapatuloy ng sesyon ng plenaryo. Sa pag-anunsyo ng resulta ng desisyon ng miyembro ng House of Representatives, mahigpit pong ipinagbabawal ang anumang pagpapakita ng pagsasang-ayon o pagtutol tulad ng pagpalakpak, pagsigaw, pagbu, pagpapakita ng mga placard o anumang kahalintulad na kilos sa loob ng bulwagan at sa galeriya. Hinihiling po natin ang pakikisa ng lahat upang mapanatili ang dignidad at wastong dekorum sa kapulungan at sa lahat ng oras. With 255 members voting in the affirmative, 26 against, 9 abstention, House Resolution number 989, together with the findings, conclusion, recommendations contained in Committee Report number 261 are hereby adopted. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Representative Bienvenido M. Abante Jr. of the 6th District of Manila to explain his vote.
Representative Abante, 6th District Manila is hereby recognized.
Thank you, Majority Leader, and thank you, my dear Speaker. Psalms 11:3 says, if the foundations be destroyed, what can the righteous do?
My God.
Today, the whole of Congress has spoken. This was the statement of one of the most powerful kings Israel ever had, King David. But first of all, Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, I would like first to commend the chairman of the Committee on Justice for shepherding with boldness and fairness these impeachment hearings. As we move closer to the impeachment trial, Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, this is no longer just about politics. This is about conscience, duty, and the future of our nation. Uulitin ko po, this is not about 2028. This is not about political alliances. This is about whether we still believe that no one is above the law. And I believe this with all my heart. And so do many of my colleagues in this chamber. Our vote today is not a declaration of guilt. It is a declaration that when serious allegations are raised against one of the highest officials of the land, Congress cannot look away. Congress cannot remain silent. Congress must act according to the Constitution and according to conscience. Ang impeachment ay hindi dapat gawing laro ng politika. This is a constitutional process with consequences not just for today, but for generations to come. The Filipino people deserve a trial that is fair, impartial, and rooted in the rule of law. And now, as the responsibility shifts to the Senate, which will sit as an impeachment court, I ask our countrymen to pray for our senator judges. Pray not for one side or another to win politically, but for truth to prevail. Pray that our senator judges be guided by wisdom, fairness, and integrity. Let us pray that they be swayed by their conscience and guided by the to another, and pray for one another that ye may be healed. The effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. End of quote. Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, I am fully aware that history will judge the decisions we make today. Years from now, my grandchildren will look back at this chapter in our nation's history and ask how their lolo voted when the country was confronted with different questions about truth, accountability, and justice. I want them to know that their lolo stood on the side of conscience and conviction. Mr. Speaker, I want them to be proud that I chose to do what I believe was right. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Speaker.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move to recognize Representative June Asidre from Party List Tingog. So moved, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Jude Asidre, Party List Tingog, is hereby recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I vote yes to the impeachment complaint against Vice President Sara Duterte. I say this with a heavy heart and with full awareness of the weight of this decision. This is not a vote that I cast lightly. In truth, this is a decision I struggled with deeply. I campaigned for Vice President Sara Duterte in 2022. I supported her candidacy. I believed in her capacity to lead and to serve. That is why when the allegations first surfaced and the hearings began, I did not rush to judgment. I listened, I waited, I searched for answers. I wanted to believe there was an explanation that could satisfy the demands of truth, accountability, and public trust. But as the hearings progressed, the evidence became clearer. Testimony after testimony, document after document, fact after fact, a pattern emerged that could no longer be dismissed, explained away, or set aside. The evidence before us was not vague. It was not light. It was not something I could pretend away simply because the decision was difficult. It was substantial, serious, and overwhelming. And when the evidence becomes overwhelming, conscience leaves us with only one honest choice. After several committee hearings, after hours of testimony, after reviewing the records, documents, and deliberations, I came to a difficult but necessary conclusion. There are compelling grounds to support the impeachment complaint. Public service, Mr. Speaker, sometimes ask us to make difficult decisions. At times, it asks us to stand apart from those we once stood with. It asks us to place duty above comfort, conscience above convenience, and country above loyalty. I voted to approve the impeachment complaint because my conscience would not allow me to do otherwise. I signed it because accountability must always remain consequential to our democracy. I signed it because no public office, however high, should be beyond scrutiny. I voted to approve it because overwhelming evidence carries a moral demand. It asks us to act. Mr. Speaker, here I stand and I can do no other. This vote is not about politics. It's not about public judgment. It is about the rule of law. It is about institutional accountability. It is about the courage to follow the evidence wherever it leads, even when it means standing against someone we once supported. Today, I vote yes because I believe in the promise of public service. I still believe in the dignity of our institutions. I still believe that truth must matter, accountability must prevail, and conscience must guide those entrusted with power. For this reason, Mr. Speaker, I vote yes to the impeachment complaint.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move to recognize Representative Kaka J. Bagao of the Lone District of Dinagat Island.
Honorable Kaka Bagao, Lone District of Dinagat Island, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I vote yes to House Resolution 989, including the articles of impeachment against the Vice President. Naniniwala po ako, Mr. Speaker, na sa karapatan ng mga mamamayan na marinig ang katotohanan at ang mga ebidensya laban sa sinumang opisyal ng gobyerno. Naniniwala po ako na lahat tayo ay may karapatang humingi ng rekurso at solusyon laban sa pang-aapi, pandaraya at pagsisinungaling ng mga opisyal. Naniniwala po ako na bawat isa sa atin, lalo na ang mga opisyal ng Kongreso, ay may obligasyong alamin at itaguyod ang saligang batas at mga demokratikong institusyon. Matagal kong pinagnilayan ang mga akusasyon at ebidensya na prinisenta sa komite ng Kongreso. Hindi ko maaaring talikuran at isantabi ang mga naganap na paglabag sa ating mga karapatan. Dapat harapin ng Vice Presidente ang mga mabibigat na aligasyon laban sa kanya. Isip Mindanaon nga dugay na nakasinati og kagubot, kapobrihon ug kalayo sa kaayuhan, kinahanglan karon ang atong pagbarog alang sa hustisya, kalambuan ug ang atong katungdanan aron panalipdan ang kamatuoran. Daghang salamat, Mr. President.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move to recognize Representative Maria Vanessa Aumentado of the 2nd District of Bohol.
Mayong hapon sa tanan.
Representative Aumentado is hereby recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mayong hapon sa tanan. My vote is no, guided by my commitment to listen to the voice and sentiments of the majority of my constituents in the 2nd District of Bohol. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move to recognize Representative Sherlyn L. Banyas Nograles of the Lone District of General Santos City.
Honorable Sherlyn Banyas Nograles, Lone District, General Santos, is hereby recognized.
Mr. Speaker, my vote is no. Let me state at the outset, accountability is non-negotiable. Public office is a public trust, and every public official must remain answerable to the Filipino people. As representatives of the people, we do not speak only for ourselves in this chamber. We carry the voices, concerns, and aspiration of the people we represent. After careful consideration of the facts, arguments, the quiet call of fairness that must guide this chamber, and the sentiments of my constituents, I rise today to cast my vote in accordance with that mandate. Let me be clear. A no vote today does not diminish our duty to demand transparency, uphold accountability, and ensure that all public officials remain answerable to the Filipino people. We must be mindful of the weight of this constitutional remedy. Impeachment is not a routine instrument of political contest. It is an extraordinary measure reserved for the most compelling circumstances. To lower its threshold risks weakening the very institution it is meant to protect. We must also recognize that the office of the Vice President carries the sovereign mandate of nearly 32 million Filipinos. Any effort to remove its occupant must respect the will of the electorate, for in a democracy, legitimacy is ultimately rooted in the voice of the people. Vox populi, vox Dei. But beyond the legal and institutional questions, we are confronted today with a deeper national reality. Our people are weary. They face rising prices, economic strain, and declining trust in public institutions. We must therefore ask ourselves with honesty and sobriety, what lies ahead after this moment? Will it ease the burdens of our citizens or deepen the divisions we already carry? Will it bring us closer to solution or further away from the urgent needs of our nation? Beyond these halls, our citizens continue to struggle with the rising cost of food, fuel, and basic commodities. They seek not prolonged political conflict, but relief, stability, and responsive governance. Perhaps then, this is a moment that calls us not only to decide, but to reflect, not only to proceed, but to reset. Though it may seem impossible at this point, but in the inner recesses of my heart, I remain deeply hopeful. A reset in our politics so that it may return to its rightful purpose. A reset in our priorities so that the burden of our people stand at the center of our deliberations. A reset in our tone so that disagreement does not become division and difference does not become rupture. We are one nation before anything else, and the strength of that nation lies in not in the uniformity of our views, but in our capacity to rise above them when the circumstances of our people demand unity over fracture.